So, I got a comment on my Is Pearl a Hybrid video asking whether Darkstalker was the strongest dragon in Wings of Fire. So, that got me thinking, who is the strongest and most threatening villain in Wings of Fire? Okay, so first off, there are a lot of antagonists in the Wings of Fire books, so I had to narrow the list down. The villain must be the main antagonist over 2 or more books, so no Vulture or Chameleon. They also have to be an actual antagonist, so no Blaze. So we have 7 villains to rank. Let's get started. So for my number 7, I have Burn. She's the main antagonist in books 1 and 5, and the Winglet Deserter. All the villains on this list are good and very effective at their job. So me putting Burn at last isn't really a slight against her, it's just that all the other villains on this list are just more effective. So I would say that she's definitely the weakest villain in the series. Her main strength is, well, strength. She is very tough and skilled at fighting. In hand-to-hand combat, she would win. But she's just not very skilled in manipulation or talking, I guess. She's a kill first, ask questions later sort of dragon. She also has no intention to stop the war and actually become queen. It even directly says in the books that if she won, she would just continue the war for fun. Allying with Queen Scarlett was a great choice, but it feels more like Scarlett manipulating her for land more than anything, and Burn gets defeated by Blister in the end, so she's a less powerful and threatening villain than Blister. For number 6, I have Blister. She is the main antagonist in books 2 and 5. Blister is very smart and very manipulative. The main reason that she's so far down the list is because it's not really her running things. The Nightwings are behind pretty much everything, and Blister would not have come so far if the Nightwings weren't actively choosing her to be queen. She is great at manipulating Queen Coral, but terrible at manipulating the Dragonets of Destiny. All of them see right through her, and the only reason she comes so close to tricking the Dragonets is because the Nightwings are trying to force Starflight to choose her. Newsflash for her, though, no one listens to Starflight. That snake trick that she pulled on Burn was pretty epic, though, and then she got gruesomely defeated by the Eye of Onyx. So fun. Love these books. Alright, for number 5, we have Queen Wasp. She's the main villain in books 11 and 12. The only reason she had so much power was because of the plant and the other mind. With the plant, she is very powerful though. She's pretty smart, and she's very good at controlling and instilling fear into her subjects. Once the other mind gets introduced, she's relegated to the background. So she's definitely more of a threat than Blister and Burn are, but realistically I couldn't put her much higher than this. On to number 4, I have the Nightwings. They are the main antagonists in books 3 and 4. They're the ones running the War of Sandwing Succession. They're behind it all. They're also experimenting on Rainwings and planning to move into the rainforest. They're honestly just so much more effective than Blister ever is. And Deathbringer's Winglet just really illustrates how much they control the Sandwing Succession War. And they honestly probably would have succeeded if it weren't for Starflight and the rest of the Dragonets of Destiny. And the volcano exploding. They faked an entire prophecy just to control the outcome of the war and move out of the volcano. That is dedication. They were a massive threat and only got stopped by Queen Glory and the volcano erupting. And when I say the Nightwings, I'm not talking about every single Nightwing. I'm mainly talking about Queen Battlewinner and Mastermind. But on to my pick for number 3, I have Queen Scarlett. She is the main antagonist in books 1, 6, 7, and 8. She is a master manipulator. I go way more in depth with this in my Peril video, so definitely go check that out. Scarlett was able to manipulate Peril into doing whatever she wanted. She manipulated Icicle into almost killing the Dragonets of Destiny. Scarlett is the kind of villain who not only is incredibly strong and good at fighting, but is also able to manipulate the dragons around her to get what she wants. A villain who's able to manipulate will always be above a villain that uses brute force. For me, at least. Her downfall is really Peril escaping her grasp and turning on her. She is a very powerful and threatening villain, though. She is nothing compared to the next 2, though. Sorry, Scarlett. Alright, top 2. These next 2 were incredibly hard to place, and came down to one factor in the end. Animus magic. I would really like to hear how you'd place the next 2, because I have thought about this for so long, and I would really like to hear your reasoning. Alright, so number 2 is Cottonmouth / Lizard or the Breath of Evil. They are the main villains in technically all 5 books of the third arc, but mostly 13, 14, and 15. Although 14's kind of a weird one because it doesn't really have an antagonist. If anything, Snowfall's kind of the antagonist of that book. It's basically a whole book just focused on Snowfall's development, so. But anyway. The main reason that they're not number 1 came down to one thing in the end. The fact that there is no animus magic. If animus magic was still around in the third arc, then the Breath of Evil would have been defeated so easily. The fact that the only way the Breath of Evil could have been defeated was by convincing Freedom to leave her little area and basically die does tell you just how powerful the Breath of Evil is. And the Breath of Evil was very, very close to just taking over the entire continent. The entire world, actually. And with no one ever being able to reason with it, a villain that needs to be talked down will always be stronger in my mind than a villain who gets defeated. But, like I say, if these dragons still had animus magic, the Breath of Evil would have been defeated so easily. Alright, y'all already know what my number 1 is. It's Darkstalker. He is the main antagonist in books 9 and 10. With animus magic, mind reading, and prophecy powers, he is the most powerful dragon to ever live. The scary thing about Darkstalker is his lack of morals and hubris. You can see this most evidently in Darkness of Dragons, where he basically asks Kibli to be his conscience for the rest of eternity. And he's only defeated the first time by Fathom breaking his oath and using his magic on him. And defeated for good by Kingachu using his own magic scroll against him. He was barely defeated. The only thing keeping him in line are his friendships with Moon and Fathom and his relationship with Clearsight. He wants friends and he wants them to like him. And that's literally the only thing that stops him. He would have gladly wiped out the entire Icewing tribe if Clearsight hadn't pleaded with him not to, and he would have succeeded in wiping them out if it weren't for Turtle and Kibli. The fact that he was so close to succeeding gets him this number 1 placement, and the title of the most powerful Wings of Fire villain. Hey guys! I would love to know what your ranking of the Wings of Fire villains is, and what your reasoning for the placements are. I actually have a lot to say on Darkstalker, so if that's a video you'd be interested in, let me know in the comments. And if there's any characters or books you'd like me to talk about, you can also leave that in the comments. Thank you for watching and subscribing, and I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.